So hello everyone, I hope all of you are doing well and your NEET PG preparation is going absolutely right on the track, and all of you have strategized yourself perfectly of how to go ahead with the preparation. So those of you who have strategized yourself perfectly can surely go ahead with that and go and watch my video to obviously add on to boost your preparation. And the candidates who are still in the middle of strategizing, or maybe they're attending counseling and they're still confused what to go, how to go, and how to prepare, so this video for sure is going to help all of you, right? And I will again recommend to go through my previous YouTube videos for the strategy, and also the Instagram page for the link which I shared in the last video as well, and I'll do it in this one as well for all the previous year's question and all the important content which is going to surely help you in the NEET PG preparation, right? So moving ahead with that, I guess the next and the most important thing for the preparation is going to be about the timeline, and not only the timeline but how you have to strategize yourself in that timeline. So it's not only about calculating months and days and going ahead with that. You need to know what you're supposed to do in every phase of the preparation, right? So most importantly, first of all, I will tell you about the timeline. I have discussed it about it in the previous video as well, and I will obviously throw some light about it in this one as well, right? So I'm considering the exam is going to happen in January or February. The dates are still not out, so it's just my consideration, because the last exam happened in March and they are not going to conduct it after that. So they are going to obviously conduct it before that. The date and everything is going to be obviously coming in the official notice. So we are left with around 4 to 5 months, like September, October, November, December, and I'm considering January, or maybe if it is happening in February, I'm considering January, and if not in February, if it's maybe happening in mid or another January, so I'm considering 10 to 15 days of January in that, right? Now what you are going to do is that you have 4 months in your hand for the revisions, right? This revision strategy is going to be different for this is going to be for two groups. One, somebody who is an intern and obviously has given a reading of the notes and is now going to start for the revision. Group number one. Group number two are the candidates who are attending the counseling, and they are they are confused that they are not getting the branch of their choice or dream college or whatsoever it is, and they want to give it another shot, right? So they are going to obviously start preparing somewhere in mid-September, because round 3 of All India is going to end at that point of time only. So that's the time when they're going to pick up their books and start the preparation all over again. So for group number one, the interns, the students who are going to freshly appear for the exam, the strategy, or somebody who's dropping from the very beginning. So group number one includes those people who are the interns who are going to give the fresh attempt, and secondly, somebody who is dropping, and has already started with the preparation. So for these people, they have already given the first read, and this is the time when we start with the revision. So if you start the preparation from January, if an intern is starting the preparation from January, so till August, September, the revision, the first reading has to be completed, because then remaining 4 to 5 months we allot for the revisions only, right? So those candidates can obviously go ahead with this thing, that they are done with the revisions, that is the first read, right? Now they are going to go ahead with this revision strategy, which I am going to tell for them as well, and for the other group who is going to start fresh after the counseling is going to end, right? So the revision strategy should be like this: September and October, 2 months you have in your hand. That should be for your first revision, right? First read is already complete for the fresh attempt students as well, that is the 18 batch as well, and somebody who is in the counseling must have already read the notes for the a number of times earlier. So first read is already complete for those students. Now they are going to start with this 2 months, September and October. That is going to be the first revision. Then November and 10 days of December. That means around 40 days I want you guys to devote for the second one. Remaining 20 days for the third revision. And if the exam is going to be, if it's expected in January maybe, then obviously in mid-January it will be, then you will have 7 to 10 days in hand. Specific time is obviously still not sure. That is those 7 to 10 days I am going to strategize very differently, because those 7 to 10 days are going to play the most crucial part in your preparation as you are going to go ahead, right? So now this is the timeline: 2 months, 40 days. That means 60 days, 40 days, and then you will have 10 days, which are going to be 60 days, 40 days, and then you will have 20 days, and remaining 7 to 10 days, whatever timeline you have. We are going to obviously talk about that in detail later, right? So that is how we are going to discuss about it. Now, what all you are going to follow in these phases of preparation. So I consider these are 4 phases of preparation, and what all we should target and hammer is something which is going to make a change, because all of us read the same notes, all of us are solving the same question bank, appearing for the same GTs, and why it is that somebody is able to get a very good rank and somebody is still not able to get their dream branch or dream college. The only difference which is going to be there is the right strategy. If you have strategized yourself well, then you are going to go ahead with the preparation in a perfect way, and obviously you're going to get the score as well. Right now, after this timeline is over, I guess all of you must be clear with that. Second thing which I am going to elaborate on is what all sources you are supposed to follow, and I am going to divide these sources in different phases of these preparation. Right now, what all are the sources you're supposed to follow? First, your notes, the most important. I mean, you can't just skip it. Notes, no rapid revision, no revision videos, nothing. I feel you need to know the notes, you need to know the concept, because exam is getting very clinical these days. It's not at all factual at all, right? So your notes, your previous year's questions, second most important thing. Thirdly, the custom module in the form of like question bank say custom module you have made with the tags of previous year's questions, or INICT, NEET PG, clinical, image based, right? Entirely solving the question bank is not going to obviously boost your preparation, or maybe it is not going to give you an extra edge, because at the end of the day, if you're not able to revise that question bank, it is not going to help you at all. So that is why I'm specifying that these remaining 4 to 5 months, instead of solving the entire question bank, go with the custom modules which are going to have very important previous year's questions, or INICT, NEET PG, clinical question, clinical STEM questions, and you have the image based questions, right? That's the most important thing. So your notes, your previous year's question, your question bank in the form of custom modules, your images are going to be very, very important, because exam these days obviously is going to include the images as well. Then your 20th notebook, which I'm going to explain in detail how you have to make it, what all you have to include into it. Then your last minute revision topics, which you have to make with every revision. That also I'm going to tell in detail how you have to actually make that. Okay, then obviously test and discussions, specifically if you're a DAM student, I will highly recommend it. How to go, how to manage it, how to elaborate with it, I'm going to obviously talk about it in the upcoming videos, and there is a very specific video I'll make for test and discussion and DBT especially, right? Then the source is obviously going to be DBT, which is a very, very beneficial source which DAMs conduct most probably 2 months before the exam. So the exam date is going to be announced, and then they're going to announce the DBT dates as well. And apart from that, what you have to go with is the test series. That is a subject-wise test, the grand test, the CVTs, that is a computer-based test, and the mocks, which Marrow, Prep, TAMS, everybody is going to conduct. So again, I'm specifying it again. Only these notes, your previous year's question bank in the form of custom modules, your images, 20th notebook, last minute revision topics, DBT, TND, if at all side by side you can follow it, and the test, which is going to include your subject wise tests, GTs, CVTs, and mocks. This is more than enough for you to do, and if you do it in the right format, that means with the right strategy. It's not that you have to do everything in one go. I'll tell you where and how you have to actually elaborate yourself. Okay, you have to go ahead with these sources, how you're going to put them in different phases of preparation. So let's talk about the first phase of preparation, that is a 2 months, September and October. What you're going to do is you're done with your first read. Now first read mein to we haven't highlighted anything, we just give it a reading. Now is the time for the first revision. With the first revision, what you're going to do, you are going to read your notes again. That means the second reading of the notes, and now you are going to obviously highlight in the sense you are going to mark the important topics, because you must have solved previous year's questions as well earlier, and they must also be in your memory. You are going to mark the important topics then, and then you are going to move ahead with the reading of the notes. You are done with the notes. Now the previous year's question you can solve before the second read or after the second read. In fact, in the first reading as well, you can, solve those previous year's questions whenever you are on your duties or whenever you do not feel like, because previous year's question is kind of, matlab, it's the ultimate thing which is going to help you in the exam. You cannot not just skip it. Okay, you cannot do that. So previous year's questions, you have to do it. So you have read your notes, you have highlighted them, you have solved your previous year's questions. Now the previous year's question topics which are there in the notes, you can obviously make a custom module of that specific topic in your question bank and solve that. No need to solve the entire question bank at this point of time. I'm being very specific again. It is not going to give you anything extra. It is just going to give you mental satisfaction that I have solved the entire question bank, but believe me, it is not going to be fruitful in the end. It is not going to be effective in the end, right? So you have to do the custom module in the question bank. Third, this is the third thing. Fourth thing is going to be automatically, without any doubt, are going to be the images. You have to revise the images in every subject. Almost every subject has some or the other images. You have anatomy has your images, path, and then obviously surgery, OBGY, ortho, radio, and pedia, and anesthesia. Almost every subject has some kind of images which you have to go through. So sort that image out and save the important images folder wise in your phone, right? Or maybe in your iPad tab, whatever you feel comfortable while revising. Once you do that, when you are saving the important images which you are going to revise in further videos, in further revision, sorry, it is going to save your time. You are not supposed to scroll the entire PDF of that image. Because you've saved the important images in the very beginning, in the very first read, or maybe in the first revision. So in the second revision, you're going to just revise those saved images in your phone, right? You are not supposed to go through the entire image PDF. That was the most important thing which I did, because again, you have to go through the mental satisfaction thing that I haven't revised all the images. And when you open the PDF and revise the entire set of images, I feel it's just a little waste of time, because we know certain images, they're already in our they're already fed in our memory. So I don't think you are supposed to revise them all over again. So just save very important pics out of those PDFs which are volatile, which you have to revise the day before the exam, or maybe 2 days before the exam, a week before the exam. Okay, so images we are done. Then side by side, now is the time in the first revision, you have to start making your 20th notebook. 20th notebook in detail. Everybody is going to tell you about it, and I have told you that I'm going to obviously tell you what all things have to be included in the 20th notebook, and that is going to be most probably my next video. Okay, I am going to tell about it there as well. Then apart from 20th notebook, yes, that's the test series. So I have told that subject wise test you have to anyway give, and subject wise test dene ke baad mein you have to obviously take into consideration the GTs. If at all GTs are going to help you, then you can go ahead with that and strategize yourself and prepare yourself. But I've seen certain candidates who feel like giving GTs is giving them a little demotivation, or maybe they're just feeling depressed because the score is not matching. So there are some people who I know who haven't given GTs and have performed brilliantly in the exam. But again, it's all about the mindset. If you're able to control your mind, if you know how to strategize yourself in the exam, then you can skip the GTs. But I personally feel giving GTs is going to give an extra edge, because your mind is going to acclimatize with the right set of questions. That means you have to give 200 questions in a sitting of 3.5 hours. How much break you have to take, for how long you have to take, at what interval you have to take, and if there is a question which is going to obviously give you nervousness, how you have to control your heart rate and your mind. I guess that is something which GTs are going to help in. So you have to manage yourself. You have to take your call that if GTs are really depressing you and they are demotivating you, you can just take a break for a while, maybe just avoid a GT, but just do not completely negate it, do not completely delete it out of your system. I will not recommend that, right? Then so in the first revision, you have done all of these things, you have completed your set of this thing. Now when you enter in your second phase of revision, which is obviously going to be October and 10 days of November and 10 days of December, that is going to be those 40 days. Again, you have to read. That is, this strategy is going to be the same, but what I'm going to tell you, just listen to that very carefully. Notes, the highlighted part of the notes has to be very clearly read, and Apart from that, the additional stuff you can just give a read. It should be in your memory. Okay, fine, it was there in my notes, so I can solve this question. I mean, I'm not completely unaware of this topic, so you should know that as well. Then again, revise the previous year's question again. Do not be in this myth that you have revised and solved the question bank previous year's question once, you were just not supposed to do it again. No, you have to keep on revising it till the end of the preparation, till the last day of the preparation, because previous year's questions are going to give an extra edge without any doubt. Whosoever is coming and telling you to not solve the previous year's question and just solve the question bank is completely wrong. Do not follow that, because believe me, it is not going to help you at all. Okay, so in the second revision, we have done with the highlighted notes, the previous year's questions. Again, keep solving custom modules. Custom module ka solve is not going to stop. Custom module previous year's question, they're not going to stop anywhere. Just keep solving them at every point of time. Whenever you feel like duties say free ho ya fir room pe aaye ho and you do not feel like studying, just keep solving previous year's questions and custom modules. And obviously the question bank in form of custom modules, again, revise the marked images, the saved images in your phone. And now is the time to make the 20th notebook in detail. Like in the first revision, you are going to just write the most important thing which have been there, but now something might be volatile, something might you must be forgetting it. There might be some one-liners, investigation of choice, drug of choice. You can just keep on adding in that 20th notebook, right? And apart from that, the last minute revision topics, yes, now is the time to make the last minute revision topics. Last minute revision topics is going to be a list subject wise. Take few A4 size sheet, divide it in 19 parts. That means create 19 columns, mention subject wise. Now suppose you are revising anatomy mein, like for me, I'm talking about personally about me, the brain's columns, the columns which we are supposed to do. So that is something which was very, very volatile. All the nerves, where it is going, what are the branches, which muscle it's applying. So I just wrote them there. All the vertebral columns, right? The markings and everything. So you have to just write that topic there. That means you have to revise the columns, you have to revise the nerves, you have to revise maybe important muscles and origins and insertions. Similarly, in pathology, you can write, okay, there are certain tumor markers which I'm going to revise, certain stains which I'm going to revise, appearances hain jo aap revise kar sakte ho, leukemia and anemia, the appearances, how you have to diagnose that. Little flow charts. So you can just mention these topics in last minute revision topics. Why I'm specifying, these are two different things. 20th notebook mein you are going to write those one liners, those appearances ka naam and everything. LMR, last minute revision topics, is just heading of that topic. That means patho, under patho you should have written tumor markers. I have to revise tumor markers, or paraneoplastic syndromes, or you have to revise stains, appearances, you have to revise leukemia. Just that. Hodgkin's lymphoma, nothing more than that. You do not have to elaborate that at all. This list is very specific. Forensic medicine may just mention IPCs, I will revise IPCs. OBGYN may just mention, I will revise eclampsia, may drug of choice, the dose and the route, right? So you have to just mention that. So LMR has to be, obviously you have to start making it right now. Now is the time, 2 months before the exam. So DAMS is going to conduct the DVT right now. This is the time also to go for the DVT. Those of you who are in DAMS and who are a DAMS student will obviously go for the DVT, because that is going to be a very high yielding source. And those of you who are any other source user and whatever you are using, I will highly recommend it. Please go through the DVT, because it really helped me and my fellow batchmates who were preparing with me for the exam. It really works, because they are going to concise all the previous year's questions, all the important topics in that particular thing. So in November end ya December mein, you can go for the for the DVTs, because the exam is going to happen maybe in January, February. It is really going to boost your preparation at all, right? Then the third phase of the revision, which is the 20 days of remaining December, that again, only the highlighted parts of the notes has to be remembered. Rest of the part has to be just flipped off like pages. Flip off the pages. Nothing more than that has to be done. Do not sit in remembering the entire stuff. Please do not do that. Okay. And apart from that, what you do in that thing is obviously the highlighted part of the notes, the previous year's question, the custom modules, again the images you have to do, your DVT of revise, your 20th notebook, and most importantly, again strategize your LMRs. I mean, if you have to add certain last minute revision topics, add that, because this is going to be a final revision, the third revision, right? After you are done with this revision, we have obviously bookmarked question bank and images. If you have done bookmarked, if you've solved your question bank, if you've bookmarked the questions, you can obviously revise that as well. So I guess that is enough to be done with this thing. Now you have last 10 days. Okay, last 10 days, divide them like this: 7 plus 3, 7 plus 2 plus 1, ऐसे डिवाइड करो उसको. 7 का भी मैं बताऊंगी. 7 में what if you do in those last 7 days, you have to only and only revise, nothing else, just revise your notes, your DVD, your 20th notebook, and your previous year's question. Right? Your notes you have revised, your previous year's questions you have revised, your 20th notebook you have revised, and your DVD you have obviously going to revise it when you are going to attempt for it, and again in the further revisions as well. Right? So last 7 days में सिर्फ ये करना. लास्ट 2 डेज में क्या करना है? लास्ट 2 डेज में आपको सिर्फ अपना 20th notebook you have to revise and your last minute revision topics you have to revise. And while you're revising these, if you feel like that you have to flip certain pages in your notes, you can go ahead with that. But I will recommend not to open your notes just 2 days before the exam, because it really gives you very highly you are mentally stressed. ये भी याद नहीं आ रहा, ये भी याद नहीं आ रहा, ये भी I am forgetting. Let's just revise. And 2 days before the exam is not possible. So that is why I'm asking you guys to make your 20th notebook and your last minute revision topics ki list. It is very important, because just before the exam, 2 days before the exam or a week before the exam, we feel what to revise now. Like, the notes are so bulky, we cannot revise these notes in just one attempt or maybe in one reading. What to revise now? So 20th notebook and last minute revision topics are going to surely help you to tell that this is what you should revise now. This is what you were forgetting in every revision. This is something which has to be revised a week before the exam and 2 days before the exam. Right? And this was 7 days, and 2 days mein, okay fine, I've told you 20 notebook and last minute revision topics, and the last 1 day just before the exam, just relax, chill, keep it light. Do not do anything. Howsoever hard you will try to revise anything, you will not be able to do that. Believe me, nothing is going to work at that point of time. Your mind is just thinking about what questions are going to appear in the exam. Everybody is, just so stressed and nervous, and people are going to just, like how you're able to maintain your calm and cool and like that. So just switch off everything. Just, delete yourself from that environment for a while, and just sit with yourself in just calm environment, and that last 1 day should be only and only yours to strategize. If you feel like you can revise certain things, if you're if you have the potential of doing that. I literally didn't have that potential. I so completely closed the notes and I was like, okay, now देखा जाएगा, जो होगा देख लेंगे, जैसे भी होगा. अब वैसे भी एक दिन में कोई कुछ नहीं कर सकता खास, तो इट्स बेटर कि आप उस एक दिन को सिर्फ छोड़ दें कि जैसा होगा, अब जितना करना था वो कर लिया, बाकी अब हम आगे देखेंगे. ठीक है? तो आई गेस दिस इज समथिंग विच आई फेल्ट हैज़ टू बी टेकन केयर ऑफ, बिकॉज बिलीव मी, इफ़ योर स्ट्रैटेजी इज़ राइट and if you have strategized yourself perfectly in your different phases of preparation, I don't think anything else is required to be done. No extra source is supposed to be added. You just do not need to do as many sources as people must be saying around you, and all the mentors and everybody's going to tell you that just revise one source 10 times, not 10 source each individually one time. So I guess I will also say the same, and I am saying it from my own experience, that just stick to these sources, and if you do them in the right manner, like I have told you, it is going to give you tremendous results only if you're consistent, disciplined, and you're true to yourself. Right? So just don't be fake with yourself that, okay fine, I'll do it later, or I've postponed test and discussion to be done tomorrow, or I'll watch this video tomorrow, I will read these notes or solve this previous year's questions tomorrow. No. Make your strategy, make timeline for every day, and stick with that timeline. Follow that timeline. And if you're skipping that, if you're just avoiding that, I think you're just being fake with yourself, right? And don't do that until and unless there is an emergency and you have to just skip your schedule. That's fine, but without that just don't give yourself very lame excuses that I can do that. So you have to just be very strict with yourself, disciplined with yourself. And if at all you guys want me to talk about routine, what should be the daily routine you have to follow, or how you have to manage your day and how you have to concise those hours, what time you have to devote to what particular thing, I can talk about it in detail, because I feel it's very personal. It's different from individual to individual. So I don't think it is going to be, my strategy might help some of you and might not help some of you. So if you guys want me to talk about it in detail, I will do that. But I guess what I've told with this strategy is something which you have to do regularly. GTs, as I told in my earlier videos as well, that obviously in the first 2 months give 4 GTs a month, and then 4 to 5, and then when you're approaching the exam, 6 to 7 GTs. How you have to analyze the GTs, how that analyzation is going to help you in the revisions, and how you have to mark that, how you have to annotate that, I will talk about in my upcoming videos as well. Till that time, keep on making your 20th notebook and your last minute revision topics, and very importantly, do not skip any mock, any CVT, any GT, or the DBT. Specifically, I am saying please be strict with the test series schedule. Do not skip that at all. In any platform, be it Damn Speed Marrow, they have their schedule for the GTs, right? So just do not skip that until and unless there is some emergency which is telling you to fine, to wait for a while. Just do not do that, okay? So in the next video, obviously I'm going to talk about, this was a timeline for the preparation. I will talk about the timeline for every subject, how much time you have to devote in that, and what should be your strategy of combining short and long, medium subjects, how you have to take breaks and everything. So if there is anything in relation to that you guys want me to talk about, drop the comment in the comment section and I will take that into consideration as well. Till then, take care of yourself, keep going with the journey, and just don't panic, don't stop, take a break, but don't stop, keep hustling, keep going. And if there's anything I can help you with, please feel free to comment in the comment section, or just text me on the Instagram page I have. I will surely reply back. Okay, take care, all the best.